Welcome, everybody, back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. For today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Padres' recent bullpen struggles, but more importantly, talking about the reinforcements that are on the way, because what we've seen from this Padres bullpen is a lot of guys struggling across the board. You go through the numbers, and it's really, really rough. Taylor Rogers has kind of been the one guy that's been amazing. Nabil Chrismat had been really good, had been promoted to that eighth inning role. We had actually discussed that a little bit in the past. Other day, he comes in, he ends up blowing the game, a two-run lead. So, we've seen this bullpen just struggle a ton. And you're starting to look at it and you go, well, they're going to have to make multiple trades because if you're just looking at it from afar. But then it turns out there's a lot of guys coming back. So the guy I want to bring up first, and then we'll get into everyone else after this. The guy I want to bring up first is Jose Castillo. So Jose Castillo has been balling out in the minor leagues. He hasn't even allowed a run, I believe, over 10 innings pitched. And he's also a guy who hasn't pitched in a long time, but he's eligible to come back June 6th. It seems like he is the most likely guy to get called up because his injuries seem to have, moved. He seems to be all right from his injuries right now. But Chase, I know you like Castillo a lot, so what are the Padres going to get with Castillo? And then we'll loop back around and I will discuss some of the other guys that will be coming back a little later in the season.
So, I've always been a big fan of Castillo. Ever since he really debuted with the team in 2019, you look at him and he goes, that's a big pitcher. And you look at him, he goes, okay, he throws 97. You look at his slider and you go, that's a wipeout pitch. That is all signs of a dominant closer / setup man. And that's what I thought we were getting. I think we had Hand back then. It would have been Brad Hand and Castillo locking down the 8th and 9th innings. That's kind of what it was. Castillo went down with a forearm strain. Looked like he was going to need Tommy John. He has Tommy John. He misses 2020. Comes back in 2021. Or no, he comes back, I think, maybe throws a pitch or two in 2020. Has another forearm strain. Gets another Tommy John. And now we're here. And as of right now, in over 13 innings pitched in AAA, he has not given up a single run. I think he has around 16 strikeouts. He is pitching out of his mind. And whenever he gets the opportunity to join the team, which it looks like it should be the beginning of next week, or even maybe the end of this week, he will instantly upgrade this bullpen into the next level. I mean, we have Taylor Rogers being the shutdown 9th inning guy. We have Luis Garcia, who he's been hit and miss, but he's been really solid as of late outside of one game that, it was really bad. And if Suarez can figure out what we got going on with him, Castillo will fit into right in that 7th, 8th inning guy. He will provide you solid innings. He can strike out the side. He can induce weak contact. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs. He has a nasty two-seamer, so even if it's a lefty or righty, he'll break a bat running into a lefty, break a bat running away from a righty. He's everything you need in a setup man. He instantly upgrades this bullpen in numerous ways. You can use him at any time. He would be one of those guys you like, sort of Tim Hill. If you need a strikeout or this situation's bad, you would throw Tim Hill out. You could also throw Jose Castillo out there. So that's basically all I've got on him. If you haven't watched his highlights, he has nasty stuff, and this bullpen will be in pretty good shape when he comes back.
If he's pitching the way he's pitching in the minors right now and the way he pitched in 2018, you're getting an immense upgrade. You look at his 2018 numbers, had around like a 3.3 ERA, something like that, pitched in 38 innings. But what stands out, 52 strikeouts in those 38 innings. That is amazing. That is fantastic. That is somebody you want in your 7th, 8th, even 9th inning role. And I don't say, 9th confidently because you got Taylor Rogers in that role. But 7th or 8th inning, he's sliding in there perfectly. And like I said, if he's pitching the way he is in the minors, you would have somebody great coming into your bullpen. You got reinforcements, and a very fresh reinforcement considering, he hasn't pitched in the majors in a while. He's coming off an injury. And I mean, I've said it a couple of times, this bullpen is going to be one of the freshest bullpens down the line in baseball. And I think that's going to be super massive for this team down the road. But just going back to Jose Castillo, Chase already brought up his nasty stuff and his amazing strikeout potential, and you get other guys back down the road. You get Adrian Morejon, you get Baez, you get Pomeranz, hopefully Pierce Johnson also. You're going to get a lot of upgrades in the bullpen, and it's hard to be patient with them because right now you really only got Suarez, who's, I mean, admittedly, he's looked a little better as of late. How confident can you be? I'm still not crazy confident, but I will say he's looked better. Luis Garcia, like Chase said, hit and miss. He's been solid. Taylor Rogers, one blown save. That's really beautiful considering how often it is. It's not often you see somebody go like 18, 19 straight saves, whatever he has. I don't know, but a lot. He leads the league. And then you got Tim Hill coming back. He's looked better as of late. Steven Wilson looked really good at first, and now you don't really know. So there's a lot of kind of unsure people in this bullpen outside of Taylor Rogers. So to get somebody like Jose Castillo, who almost essentially is going to be a sure thing to be a really good ball player, that's going to be a huge boost to the bullpen. And like I said, I know it's hard to be impatient. We want these trades, and I think we still might swing one because relievers are very easy to get at the deadline. It doesn't have to be some crazy reliever. I just don't want it to be missed like another damn Daniel Hudson or something like that. That was horrific. But yeah, man, I really do think this bullpen's set up for success down the road. Maybe not right now, but team's hanging on right now. So that's really good to see. And Jose Castillo is going to be one of the biggest ads for our team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys brought up the strikeout numbers for Castillo. They're way up there. I think when we bring up him, I think a 7th or 8th inning roll right off the bat makes a lot of sense. I think that him paired with Luis Garcia in those two roles, I think that's most likely what you're going to see. And then Suarez working in kind of like he'll come in once in a while in the 7th or the 6th, depending on like rest days and whatnot. Coming in when they're down by a couple runs. But really to start building up that confidence with him because he's come in there and sometimes he's looked fantastic and sometimes he's looked really wild. And he didn't really have those issues with walking a lot of guys in the Japanese league. I believe that's where he came from. So we haven't really seen that a ton from him in the past, but that has been a big issue early on this year. So continue to kind of give him some reps there. Maybe you'll see him improve. But Isaac, you also got into it a little bit about some of these other guys that are coming back. So just going through the list, you have Adrian Morejon. He tossed some innings earlier this month. He's played a little bit. He's on the 60-day IL. It seems like he's going to be coming back more likely later in the summer. So not super early from him. And then you see Michel Baez. Now, he's pitched a decent amount in the minors. His numbers have actually been pretty good. So far this year, he has pitched 13 innings in between A and AA ball. And he struggled a little bit more when he got to San Antonio. He had a low over a 4.7 ERA. I think he's still in that like prospect range of like they're going to call him up when they think he's ready. So I don't think it's about injury anymore for him, but he will get called up when they feel like, hey, he's gonna be better than a guy like I don't know whoever's pitching. They think that they can make an improvement, whether that's Avila if he's up or Steven Wilson. They kind of bounce a bunch of guys back and forth. So it kind of depends on him. And then of course the guy that we really, really hope is able to come back this year, Drew Pomeranz. He tossed a bullpen session last week, I know, but just slowly coming back. So honestly, when I think about Drew Pomeranz is a guy that I'm hoping is back come playoff time. Like that's where my expectations are with him. He's had a lot of injuries. So in terms of a reinforcement coming back soon, don't really expect it with him. Expect it with Morejon a little bit before that. And then finally, the final guy that's going to be coming back that will make a large difference is Pierce Johnson. So he's going to be throwing again in early June. So maybe he'll come back late June, early July. Probably, hopefully when his 60-day IL stint is up. But more likely to see him sooner than later. And then probably Morejon after that. And then probably hopefully Palm late in the season. He's more of a hopefully, I think, at this point. But yeah, so I guess the only guy that you're really monitoring to see how well they're pitching performance-wise in the minors, I mean, you can look at all of them, but the guy that's really like dependent on him being called up would be Michel Baez in that spot. Because if he looks good, if he kind of starts climbing through the minor league ranks again, because he's had a lot of injuries, we could see him get called up a little bit sooner than later if they have a lot of faith in him. But Chase Isaac, what do you guys feel about these other guys coming back?
I feel great. I mean, especially when you look at just how much this bullpen has struggled. I mean, you look at Steven Wilson today and kind of Steven Wilson of late. At the beginning of the season, he was untouchable. Now he is anything but that. I mean, his he doesn't have the greatest fastball location, and he gets punished for it a lot. And if he's not locating his slider, it's a nightmare. I mean, we saw that today. Goldie took him deep. It was a pretty deep shot too. He didn't miss, and we saw. I think it was in the Giants game. People or one of the Giants games. They didn't miss. They were just. They may have not been home runs, but they were barreling him up easily. And I think there was one guy that we haven't really mentioned yet. It's Ray Kerr. I mean, where has he been? You traded for him. He's a lefty that throws 100 miles an hour. He has a good slider, and you just haven't utilized him. You know how much this bullpen has struggled. You know guys are being overworked, and you brought him up to pitch like 2 innings, but nothing outside of that. Give him a shot. I mean, it doesn't hurt you at this point. You have a couple of guys getting ready to join you again, either at the beginning of this month, maybe it takes a little bit longer, maybe for Baez or home probably towards July, but you only have one guy coming up, and that's Jose Castillo. You don't want that many lefties in your bullpen, but having an extra lefty who throws 100 miles an hour, you know what, you can fit that guy in there no matter what. That's a good problem to have. If you have 3 lefties with wipeout stuff, I don't consider that, oh, we can't have that. There's 3 lefties that are the same profile. So what? If they get guys out, that's the main thing here. And we really haven't seen Ray Kerr get a predominant role in the major leagues. So, if you want your immediate reinforcements, you go to Ray Kerr, you go to Jose Castillo after maybe this week or next, and you got it. It's just, why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, dude, I'm really glad you brought up all those lefties because I was actually thinking about it right now, and I'm thinking, we got lefty Morhone, we got lefty Castillo, we got a lefty and shoot, I forgot the name. You brought up Ray Kerr, and you got a righty and Pierce Johnson. Dude, there's so many lefties because you already got Rogers, you already got Hill. It would just be nice to have one more righty, maybe whether it be at the deadline or whatever it is, just so you can have some matchups. That's just my opinion. That's just what I think. Go for it, Chase.
Michelle Baez.
Michelle Baez, yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, that's actually the one I was thinking about for another righty. Damn, but it is what it is. We need some more righties. But you look at it. Those lefties are really damn good. Jose Castillo, 52 strikeouts in 38 innings is absurd. Taylor Rogers isn't going anywhere. Drew Pomeranz is, at one point he was absolutely one of the best relievers in baseball. And when you look at it, you look at the contract, you're like, damn, this is such a crappy contract because he's always hurt. Dude, if he played, you'd be thinking it might still be a crappy contract because it's 10 mil for a reliever. But you look at it and you're thinking, damn, like this guy's really good. Because quite frankly, he is really good. He was shut down for every inning he pitched, I think. So that's a huge addition. There's a lot of huge additions coming for this Padres bullpen. And like I said, man, they just got to hold on up until then because the starting pitching is doing really well. I also think that, with Mike Clevenger coming back, you will see Martinez or Gore come out of the bullpen. No way they do a 7-man rotation, right? No way. I think they still kind of stick with a 6-man with either Gore or Martinez doing it. Most likely Gore because Gore's been fucking phenomenal. And Martinez struggled today, but for a number 5, number 6 starter, I'll absolutely take that from Nick Martinez. And his nasty changeup will project very well in a bullpen role, I think. So, yeah, man, honestly, it's going to look good for this bullpen here soon. Be patient because it's going to take a little bit. But real soon, I really think it's gonna be one of the best bullpens in baseball. I think it's gonna be quite opposite from last year, where the first half or most of the first half of the year we had the best bullpen, and then they faltered. This year, I think we're gonna have one of the worst bullpens, and then we're gonna go to one of the best bullpens, along with the great starting pitching, along with Fernando coming back, along with and this is gonna happen. It's gonna be Brian Reynolds in the outfield. I think this is gonna be a really good Padres team.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about them making a move for someone, but I think Isaac, I think it's super fair because like a lot of people are like, yo, this bullpen is not good. It's like, yeah, but the guys aren't there. Castillo's coming very soon. Also, you guys brought up a righty coming up. This was a guy that was brought up a ton earlier on in the year. But Kevin Kopps, I don't know if you guys have been monitoring his numbers. His numbers are not good in Double-A. However, guys aren't hitting off him that well. He's walked 11 guys in around 14 innings, though. So that's where he's ran into problems, control issues there. So that's why you're probably not going to see him come up. Kind of, he's in the same boat as Michel Baez. I think Baez probably is more likely to come up first because he's already pitched in the majors too. But he's another guy that could end up coming back later on in the year. But the big guy that will be coming back is Castillo. When you get Morahone there, if you get Pomerantz, like this could be a really, really nasty bullpen. So we'll see how it plays out. Also, all four of those guys, like you guys are talking about, are all lefties, which is hilarious because those would be like all of the best relievers for this team. But we'll see how it works out. Another thing that could happen too is that we could see one of these guys swapped for a different good bullpen arm as well. Like that could very well happen because there's a lot of pieces in this bullpen. We could see a couple guys move to a team as kind of reclamation projects for a team that's not going to try to win this year, and you add an older bullpen piece there. A lot of ways this can play out, but Castillo's coming. You're going to see some other guys come down the road, but I think that you're going to see a significantly better team, like you said, Isaac, later on in the year with this bullpen because having those guys back is gonna make a huge difference. But I think it's gonna do it for today's episode. So thank you all for listening, and we will be going live Wednesday after the Cardinals game to recap that series. So thank you all, and we'll see you then.